Everybody. Thank you for being here. It's Wednesday, it's 7 o'clock. That means it's time for our Wednesday weekly workshop where you get to ask Drew anything. And is it for real the 95th time we've done that?
I updated that, yes, for you.
Love that. This is your first time here for one of these. Thank you for being here. The way these work, every Wednesday at 7 p.m. we go live because we have more than 15 years worth of clinical experience as nutritionists, and we want you to know everything that we know. The easiest way to do that is to allow you to ask us questions. So whether you are on YouTube or on Instagram, or if you're one of the incredible people who has butts and seats in our classroom right now, you can ask your questions. Enter them into the chat. If you don't want to ask your questions into the chat, our phone number is right up here, 262-505-5012. Give us a call. We'll answer the phone live on the air, and I'll tackle your question on the dry erase board here. I'm Drew. I'm the owner of the clinic here at 3D Wellness, and I do the question answering. Usually we start these off by saying, here's what we've been working on this week in clinic. I want to do something a little different today. I want to talk about adrenal glands for just a minute. This gives all of you a chance to ask those questions in the comments, okay? I should say, we stay here as long as there are questions in the comments. Some already come up?
No, I was just tapping and checking YouTube.
Yep. When the questions run out, we call it a night. All right, your adrenal glands. This has come up a number of times this week in clinic, so it bears covering. All right, so you have two of them. One on each kidney. They're about the size and approximately the shape of a walnut. So they're not very big. They're small glands, okay? They help us deal with stress. They help us deal with inflammation. They do a lot in the world of hormones. And please keep in mind, when it comes to hormones, every hormone in the human body, whether it's testosterone or estrogen or insulin, any hormone, they are like, did you ever play with dominoes when you were a kid? Where you'd line them up and then knock them all down? Yeah. They're like that, but it's one big circle of dominoes. So if you knock over one of those dominoes, eventually it'll influence every other domino. It's like that with hormones in the body. So a lot of people with hormonal issues may actually have some underlying adrenal issues that are contributing to their hormonal issues. Now, in our modern world, our adrenals are under more stress than ever before. We have more things to be stressed out about. Those little cell phones that I'm streaming from and that we all tend to have in our pocket give us way too much information far too often. We are totally overly connected and disconnected at the same time. You know what I mean? So our adrenals are dealing with a lot. So something that we have to do sometimes is put the adrenals to bed. I want to talk about what that means. Because the adrenals are so overworked, they're constantly being taxed. Sometimes they learn to go in this mode of rush, 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 more, faster, faster, faster. And that is another form of stress, but it's all the adrenals know. So we have to put them to bed to kind of reset them and get them back in a better place for function. And the way that we do that is high doses of 3 minerals: calcium, magnesium, and zinc. The gentleman who started the hair analysis company that we use, his name was Dr. Paul Eck. And he would talk about doing this with clients that would come to him that were just too stressed out. They would just come to him totally cooked, and he would help them put their adrenals to bed. Usually takes 2 to 3 days. And during that time, you clear your schedule. you get rid of your cell phone. You find a couple of books you want to read. You get those sweatpants that you would never wear in public but are perfect for relaxing in. You put those on. You do that kind of stuff. Okay. You take some high doses of calcium, magnesium, and zinc, and that will chemically send a message to your adrenals to chill out. And if you can sustain them in that state for those 2 to 3 days, when you come out of that, your body will be far more responsive to everything that is energizing, to everything that is stress support, and everything that is anti-inflammation, because that's what healthy adrenal glands do. So this week we had 3 different clients come in, and we picked a time. They got out their calendar on their phone, and they picked 3 days that they're like, I'm going to call in and work on that Monday. I got that weekend off. Those are my 3 days. I'm putting my adrenals to bed that weekend. So if you're feeling like you need that, if you need that reset, if enough stress is enough stress for you, get your calendar out. Find 2 or 3 days that you can do this, and then contact us. We'll talk to you about what high doses of these 3 nutrients would be best for you as an individual so that you can put your adrenals to bed and afterwards get all the benefits that adrenal glands are supposed to help us with. There you go. Questions coming to mind right out of the gate? No? Cool. Just checking. Yeah, fire away.
The 2-3 days, is that because of the impact that those high doses are going to have on your body, so that you're a facility, or okay?
Really good question. So the question was, why the 2 or 3 days? 2 parts. One, we want to break that cycle or that pattern that people are in with stress. And jumping out for 2 or 3 days is usually enough to like just shift that enough. And then taking the high doses of the calcium, magnesium, and zinc will put the adrenals to bed. So your energy level will be super low during those 2 to 3 days. But if you're just laying in bed all the time, it's no big deal. Yeah. It's a good thing to do. I have a couple of clients who are professional athletes. Before the start of the season every year, they get out their calendar 2 or 3 weeks before the season picks up. They have 2 or 3 days. They put their adrenals to bed so they can hit that new season fresh.
It's like a mini hibernation.
Like a mini hibernation. I love it, 2 Boots. All right, what questions are rolling in?
I don't see any rolling in just yet.
Ooh. Maybe we need to announce the Spanish black radish.
Oh, everybody's on the edge of their seat waiting to hear this.
All right, for those of you who don't know, which means you've probably never talked to me ever, Spanish black radish is my favorite supplement of all time. And I think that Standard Process needs to make a larger bottle of Spanish black radish. So what I did the entire month of March was I bothered Standard Process with reminding them that they need a bigger bottle of Spanish black radish, because their biggest bottle to date on Spanish black radish is just a 90 count. But we know that Standard Process already makes bottles that would fit 180 or even 270 Spanish black radish inside of them. So what I'm saying is, let's make a bigger Spanish black radish. The people want it, okay? So at our front desk, the entire month of March, I filled up this container, which is usually Standard Process Power Mix, which is a greens blend. It's a powder, you mix it, you drink it down. It's really good for you. But it's a huge container. And I filled it with Spanish black radish tablets and had people guess how many are inside of this container. We had some silly guesses. The actual count inside the tub was 1,131 tablets, okay? But there were some guesses that were a lot of fun. One of the most common guesses was 1,100, a lot of 1100s. 1080 was another very popular guess. That was our winner. And then there were a couple of cute guesses.
Mm.
That was the cute guess. I think a couple of people didn't totally understand the prompt of, I filled up this very large container. How many did I fit in there? Do you remember what I said the high one was?
Was it
Oh, there it is.
4,000 something? Or...
Yeah. So some people guessed on the lowest end of the spectrum that there were 84 inside of this tub.
No judgments.
No judgment. On the high end, this guess was 17,000.
Oh, that one I didn't hear about.
I'm going to black out
Wow.
this person's name.
Maybe they were referencing grams.
Something.
Yeah.
1750, just to show you it's real. Very sweet. No
Oh.
judgment, no shame. But Elizabeth W. guessed it right. So we're going to reach out to Elizabeth. We're going to let her know. She got her own container of Spanish black radish. That's what she wins for guessing so closely. Her guess was 1,116. Very close, just 15 off. Very well done, Elizabeth, with your guessing. I had a few people ask me, Drew, you're giving them a bottle of Spanish black radish. Why don't you give them this container of Spanish black radish that you filled up? This is 12 and a half bottles of Spanish black radish. That's about $380. When the business here is a little bit further along, maybe then. For now, this is about a year's supply of Spanish black radish for me. So I'm going to go use this. Oh, I should make sure. Would you help me remember?
What?
When I finish this tub of Spanish black radish, that we announce it on the live stream.
Okay.
So that people know how long it takes me to go through 1,131 Spanish black radish.
That's hilarious.
So yeah, we're going to reach out to Elizabeth W.
Okay.
Looks like a question came in, Lori.
Yes, from Teresa.
Great.
And I have a feeling it has to do with the topic of adrenals. Does
Okay.
it still work to put them to bed even if you already are on high levels of calcium and magnesium according to the hair analysis?
Very good question. So on a hair tissue mineral analysis, things that they measure are calcium, measure a lot of things, but magnesium and zinc are absolutely measured on there. And we do have a target amount for each one of those. And what Teresa is talking about is, what if on the hair analysis, that person's level is above that on calcium and magnesium? Does it still work? Absolutely. You can still put the adrenals to bed even if you have high levels of all three of these minerals, actually, so long as we're using the correct form of those minerals to get the response from the body. The reason I bring that up is often when you have a high level of a mineral on a hair analysis, it means your body is getting plenty of that mineral, right? You couldn't have a high level if you weren't getting enough. But often it means you're not getting the correct form of that. If you deliver mulch or rocks for a living, you should drive a pickup truck because you can put mulch and rocks in the back of a pickup truck. If you drive a sedan and you deliver mulch, you're going to have a filthy car. It's always going to smell like wood, okay? With the calcium and the magnesium, if we get you the right source of calcium and magnesium and you put the adrenals to bed with those sources, it'll actually help your body to take these excesses and put them to work, which will ultimately lower them. Teresa, let me know if that answered your question. Yeah, Renee.
You're an advocate of the Spanish black radish.
Oh, yeah.
Why?
Oh, thank you. Okay, so I just got to dork out for a second. Renee, when was the last time we saw each other?
We figured like over 5 years.
No way. It was like pre-COVID?
It was, I'm quite certain it was pre-COVID.
Oh,
Because
man.
Miles hadn't been born yet. Right?
Wasn't born yet.
Yeah.
And he's 5.5 now.
Yeah.
So it's 5.5 months.
Holy smackers. Okay. So I was thrilled because one of the rooms I give consults in is off of the classroom here. And as I was walking into a consult with somebody, I saw this note on the board that said, Rugby Renee says hi, something like that.
Mhm.
And I was like, I only know one Renee that plays rugby.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
it's been like 6 years since I saw her, apparently.
Mhm.
And she's here, butts in seats, love it.
Yes.
All right. So her question was, why do I love Spanish black radish so much? And little does she know that I'm now going to present to you the 3-hour presentation on Spanish black radish that I've been preparing.
Have you narrowed it down to 3 hours
Aren't
now?
you impressed that it's
Wow,
only
Drew.
3 hours now? Used to be 17. No, I'll give the cliff notes. All right. Our beloved Spanish black radish, SBR for short. Writing this out in brown because Spanish black radish is naturally brown. All right, so what I want you to think about Spanish black radish as is a vacuum cleaner that also buffs floors. So what do I mean by that? I mean Spanish black radish, it supports the liver's natural ability to detox. If you want to get really specific, it's something that's called phase 1 and phase 2. Also supports something called cytochrome P450. That is for the big science dorks out there. I love you too, okay? Spanish black radish naturally helps the part of the liver that gets junk out of your system. If you're not aware of this, liver's on the right side. It's protected by your rib cage. It's pretty big. Goes from the front, wraps around into the back. In a guy my size, it's about the size of 2 deflated NBA basketballs. It's a big organ. Does that make sense? It's a big organ, does a lot of work. Has a lot of jobs. One of the jobs is cleaning our blood. And it does that through phase 1 and phase 2 detox and using something called cytochrome P450. What is naturally inside a Spanish black radish helps the liver clean the blood. So that's the part where it's the vacuum cleaner. It's like running a vacuum cleaner on a hardwood floor, okay? It's picking up debris, dust, hair, that kind of stuff. The magic of Spanish black radish is 2 parts now. It does not force detox. Right? I own a vacuum cleaner. I have one here too. I don't have to turn it on, right? I choose to turn it on when I'm ready to turn it on. And it's the same thing with Spanish black radish, because there are other products out there that when you take them, they force a detox. Detox starts immediately. And sometimes that's important to do. But it's not always the right thing to do. You don't always have to force the body into a detox. Sometimes you just want to set the body up so when it's ready to detox, it can go ahead when it's ready to. Okay? Second part where it's super magical is the part where it buffs floors, because it's basically a multivitamin. Naturally, inside of Spanish black radish, we get calcium, we get phosphorus, we get vitamin A, we get vitamin C, we get folate, which is the real version of folic acid. It's the better version of folic acid. We get sulfur, which is really good for your joints aside from being really good for your liver. We get some B12 in there. We get all these nutrients from a food source. It's not chemically derived. It's not made in a laboratory. When you grow a Spanish black radish in healthy soil, like standard process does, all of this goodness is in there. You don't have to add it to it. So imagine a vacuum cleaner that picks up the dust, dirt, debris, the hair, and then buffs the floors for you by leaving behind all those nutrients and never ever forcing your body to do something. That's why I love it so much. Because I can give it to little kiddos, because it's not going to force a detox and mess up their system. I can give it to elderly people, because it's not going to force a detox and mess with their system. It's going to support their body to do what their body knows to be best and give a whole bunch of nutrient while it does it. That makes sense?
Yes.
You're welcome. That's why I love it. Now, for the next 3 hours, I'm going to keep, or 2 hours and 55 minutes, I'm going to keep going. And it's easy. Most people, I should put this on there before I get rid of that. Most people just need 2 or 3 of them a day. It really doesn't take a lot on Spanish black radish to get a lot of good stuff going. Really doesn't take a lot. It's also like pound for pound, inexpensive. You don't spend a lot of money to get all these benefits when you do it via Spanish black radish. All right, other questions that are coming up. Any on the chat? No? You're always good for a question too, Boots.
Well, I had something that came to mind today, but I haven't had a chance to look into it enough to be comfortable wanting to know more about it yet.
Sure.
So I'm going to pass on that for now and ask
maybe
you
next
something.
week.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you about allergies.
Yeah.
I'm curious about allergies. I want
Sure.
to know what's the difference between an allergy and a sensitivity,
Ooh, yeah.
and are they fixable or just manageable?
Cool. Let's jump in.
Okay.
I'm going to do it with red. All right, so allergy. Sensitivity.
We're talking obviously foods or environmental things. Or,
Absolutely.
Right? Okay.
Yeah. So typically with an allergy, we're going to get a big immune response. Bless you. Or a big inflammation response. In really severe cases of allergies, we can see the body get so inflamed that it'll do things like closing up the throat or closing up the sinuses or making your eyelids so puffy you can barely open them up, right? A big inflammatory response. We also see with allergies that typically the immune system gets involved. The allergen, the cause of the allergy is so irritating to the body that the body enlists the immune system to help attack it. Okay? And with an allergy, it can be potentially fatal.
Oh, yeah.
Your throat can close up and cut off air and kill you if you're allergic to bee stings and you get stung by a bunch of bees. Okay? So it's big stuff. In terms of fixing them, not all allergies are created equal. Some allergies you can fix. Other allergies are too severe to fix. Okay. With a sensitivity, we get a small response from the body. It rarely involves the immune system. We got small inflammation. But I'm not trying to invalidate anybody. It's enough inflammation that you notice it, but it's not the kind of inflammation that's going to shut your eyes with swelling or close up your throat. Okay? You'll feel it. There's some degree of symptoms. You get symptoms from it, but the severity is much, much less. I'll give you a comparison. One of my good friends from college, she actually stood in our wedding. Her name's Andrea. I doubt she's watching this, but if she ever sees this, Andrea, shout out to Andrea. She has a family member that has celiac disease, which means that she is fully allergic to gluten, which is a protein that exists in some grains. Okay, if Andrea's family member has gluten, it can kill her. Okay, compared to me, when I have gluten, I get a little bit bloated. That's a sensitivity. Okay, it has never closed up my throat. It has never caused my bowel to rupture. It has never caused such a large immune response in my body that my body starts to attack itself. Does that difference make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, you liked that, didn't you?
I love your expression. Is what I'm loving.
So people can have a lot of sensitivities, and they're real. They give you some kind of symptom. You eat something or you interact with something, it messes with you a little bit. Those are really easy to resolve. If I know I'm going to have gluten, like 2 or 3 times a year, we order some really good pizza in here and have like a little staff party kind of thing. We invite Dr. Drew and Dr. Moira. We may have a new member of staff joining us soon. They'll be invited in the future. If I know I'm going to have gluten on those nights and I don't want to deal with the bloating, I will intentionally take certain supplements that I know help my body break down gluten so it's less of an irritant and I have less symptoms because of it. There is no amount of supplementation on earth that would stop Andrea's family member from having a very dangerous reaction to gluten because they have full-bore celiac disease. There you go. So yeah, some allergies you can fix, some you can't.
So
pretty much every sensitivity you can fix.
I guess I'm curious. You know, you always often hear about seasonal allergies, particularly spring and fall. I think mostly.
Yeah.
And some are there some in summer and winter
there are
too?
some. Yeah. In winter, it tends to be the indoor allergens. People talk about dust mites, for example.
Okay. Yeah.
I can speak a little bit about some of those outdoor allergies, though, and why a lot of them are resolvable. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would love to hear about that.
Cool.
I think I'm pretty sure you're the one that brought my mom to you quite a few years ago with hay fever.
Yep.
And you did something that all of a sudden hay fever never came back again.
You got it.
It was wonderful.
I love doing that. What color haven't I used tonight? Green?
I don't like green, remember?
Oh, that's right. Let me see if
it just doesn't show up.
If I hang it upside down for a minute, maybe it'll come back to us. Let's go with pink.
That's a good idea.
All right, so we're going to go outside allergies. I was thinking green because I'm about to talk about a bunch of plants. That's all. All right. So there is the actual plant matter that many people are very reactive to. Oh, you know what? The whatever thing is pollinating. We've heard this, right? Whatever plant it is. Oh, it's letting its seeds loose all of a sudden. Okay. Oh, I can't breathe through my nose because of it. Okay. You can absolutely have an allergy or a sensitivity to all sorts of different plant matter like pollen. Okay. But in our modern world, there's an additional thing. So additionally, did I spell that right? Cool. Additionally, there are chemical issues. Do you remember a few years ago when a lot of Canada was on fire? Do you remember that? Do you remember people talking about having major breathing problems in response to that? Oh yeah, there was a lot of smoke in the air, right? Thousands and thousands of acres of tall trees were on fire. There's a lot of smoke with that. I get that. One of the things that didn't come up in a lot of news reports was that a lot of those forests had roadways that went through them. And for decades, car exhaust had been accumulating on the branches and the leaves and the pine needles of those trees. So when those trees caught on fire, the petroleum-based products from the car exhaust also ignited. And it hit people differently to have smoke that was part plant matter and part chemical. Wisconsin's a really good example of this problem with pesticides. Okay, so here's one to talk about. I wish that Farmer Joe, who uses pesticides on his crops, when he sprays it on his acreage, that it stayed there, but it doesn't. Okay, they spray the pesticides on the crop, and then sooner or later, the water that has pesticides in it evaporates up into the cloud system and can move for miles and then rain somewhere else. And it doesn't necessarily break down the pesticides. The water may evaporate, but the pesticides still exist until it gets wet again and then evaporates and may get lifted back up in the clouds and move to a different area and then drop the pesticides there also. So what I have attention on when it comes to these outside allergies is not just the pollen, but what chemicals like pesticides, or in the case of the Canadian wildfires, petroleum, are we also breathing in when we breathe in that pollen or when we breathe in that smoke? It's not just plant matter anymore, there's chemicals with it also. And if you look around, you will notice that more people today compared to 30 years ago or 40 years ago seem to have airborne allergies. I think a large part of that is because the average household 40 years ago didn't have as many cars as we have today. People didn't tend to commute as far for a job as they do today. I personally saw with clients during COVID, when people were staying home, that allergies were down quite a bit. And I think a big part of that is not just because less time outside, but because we saw less people driving places and going places. I know it's the National Wildlife Association, that's not their name. But during COVID, when people were driving less, the population of insects and birds in the United States went up dramatically, like noticeably, because there was less air pollution. So these outside allergy things, we have a couple of things that point in terms of evidence. It's not just the plant matter that's messing with people's airways. So we have a lot of luck here helping people with outside allergies because we know how to help the body get rid of things like certain chemicals like pesticides and petroleum.
Okay.
That answer your question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Mary Bruno has a question on this topic of allergies.
Yeah, I'll leave it
The
for a
question
second.
is, what supplements are used for an allergen sensitivity such as gluten?
Ooh, okay. Yeah,
Ooh.
I'm glad you said sensitivity, because if it's an allergic thing like celiac, I'm not touching it because I don't want to hurt anybody. I am not a doctor or a fool.
But you're really smart.
I do what I can. I appreciate it. All right, I hung green upside down. Let's see if we got it. Hey, that looks better, right?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I can live with that.
Gluten digestion support. All right, so gluten is a 2-part protein. I would draw it on the board, but I know somebody in the comments is going to say it looks like testicles. So I'm not going to do that, okay? Sorry to disappoint you. And that person would probably be Lori, just for the record. Okay, 2-part protein. Why is that so important to know? Because if we're going to help digest gluten, we have to have something that helps us digest protein, but also that can cleave those 2 parts in half so that we can separate those and make them easier for the body to digest. So my favorite combo to accomplish that is a supplement by Standard Process called Enzicor. I suggest taking 2 to 3 before and after meals. And then you got choices depending upon what's going on with you. If you are prone to heartburn, I'm going to suggest Zypan by Standard Process. Same thing, 2 to 3 before and after meals. Or if you don't have heartburn, Zymax by Standard Process, 2 to 3 before and after meals. When it's pizza night around here, we got a nice little array of supplements that we put out on the table. It always has all 3 of these. And then it's got our other favorites, Spanish black radish. It's got some Mintran. If it's a games night, some Cataplex B course, we're all revved up and energized for games night. But to help a body digest gluten specifically, we want something that can break apart proteins really effectively. And Enzicor paired with Zypan or Zymax is typically what I use to do that. I've had great success with that. When it's holiday season, I'm going to holiday parties and I don't know what kind of hors d'oeuvres are going to be on the table. If I'm going to a new restaurant for the first time, or if I know I'm going to have pizza. This is the combo that I take, and then I can enjoy the meal. I'm not worried about, am I going to feel bloated and uncomfortable at the holiday party? Am I going to want to go home right after dinner? Like that kind of stuff. Mary, let me know if that answered your question. And safe to take randomly. Still works if you take it randomly. You don't have to take it every day.
All right. Our next chat came in here.
Oh, great.
Question. Is there a good colloidal silver to use for wounds?
Wow. Okay. I'm not a huge fan of colloidal silver. Got to get that on the table first and foremost. I think the best place to use colloidal silver is for like big deal. You haven't tried to handle the problem with other things. For wounds, I'm a little hesitant to suggest colloidal silver because I don't like the idea of introducing silver directly into the bloodstream. I'm much more comfortable with the idea of colloidal silver getting ingested so that your stomach acid and the other parts of your digestive tract can take a crack at it and kind of protect you from it. So I'm not going to recommend colloidal silver for wounds. I'm aware that some people use it for wounds. I am not one of those people who does that. So I appreciate the question, but I would not recommend using colloidal silver for wounds.
Question on that topic. Sometimes I put my colloidal silver in a spray bottle and spray it in my eyes when I feel a little something coming up that's itchy and irritating.
Yeah.
And it seems to eradicate it right away.
Okay.
Is that getting into my bloodstream that way?
It most likely is. It has a little bit more of a protective measure because you don't have an open wound on your eyes.
Right.
So your eyes are a mucosal membrane.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a film-like barrier over your eyes, and then all your blood vessels are closed. So the silver has to pass through the wall of the blood vessels, which gives the immune system some time to respond to it, compared to it going straight into an open wound.
Okay.
So there's a little bit more protection there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So keep doing it.
I think you're safe.
Works.
I think you're safe to do it. Yeah. Especially we got good results and you haven't gone blind yet. So.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Good. Other questions coming up. Get some good questions today.
Yeah. Good.
When the questions run out, we call it a night. We'll give you another minute to chat them in or call them in. It's always exciting when someone calls in a question. Reaching the farthest corners of the world. Good. I'm already thinking about how much I want to eat this entire tub of Spanish black radish. I like to show people. Can you see it on there? How full up that is? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of Spanish black radish.
Surprised you didn't stick your face in there. Give it a good whiff.
I do that privately. Thank you very much. Never mind. Woo! That was about to get super inappropriate. I think that's the Wednesday weekly we do after 10 p.m. That's the adult version. I should put like a not safe for work banner on that post just so people don't accidentally open that up. Drew said, what? Good.
Oh, it's all good.
All right. Any questions, Roland? No? All right, you wonderful humans. Thank you for participating. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for the butts and seats. It's good to have so many people here. We'll be back next Wednesday for another Wednesday weekly workshop. It'll be episode 96. Woo, we got something. We're starting to put some plans together for episode 100. Pretty good giveaway. The idea is we want to give away something, supplement, that a bottle of it costs $100. So you're going to have to tune in to find out more about that in the coming weeks. We'll see you next Wednesday at 7 so you can ask Drew anything. Bye for now.